So, hello everyone. I'm Kelly Carroll from Sports Communication, and welcome to our fourth coach conversation. We are so excited to have you all join us today for this discussion with head women's basketball coach Heather Vulin. Before we get started, we'd like to remind everyone to mute their microphones during the interview. If you'd like to submit any questions, you can do so via the chat function at the bottom of your screens. It should be right in the middle. I'll now turn it over to our host for this afternoon, News 12 The Bronx and News 12 Brooklyn Sports Director, Pat O'Keefe. Pat, welcome.
Well, thank you, Kelly, and it's good to see so many faces joining us again. I can't believe this is our fourth and final coach conversation already. We've had a great time over the past month talking Manhattan College men's basketball, then the track and field and cross country programs, baseball last week, and real excited to hear from Heather Vulin today about really a program obviously on the upswing and a season that really ended on a high note. You know, we've been covering at News 12 obviously a lot of coronavirus related stories. Unfortunately, in my department, the sports department, it's been a lot about, you know, opportunities missed and careers ended and seasons ended abruptly and far too soon. The timing obviously isn't good for any athlete or fan or coach, the way that sports really shut down in the middle of March. It probably stings a little bit more when you have a team and you have a program playing its best of the season. And that's exactly, Coach, what your program was obviously doing with that 5-game winning streak, heading into the MAC tournament with a full steam of momentum. And we were so excited to see that play out. And unfortunately, like so many around the country, you guys didn't have the opportunity to do that. But that 5-game winning streak, pushing your record to 12-8 in the MAC, above 500, 15-14 overall. Difficult way to end the season, but having played your best basketball this season, really curious to hear your thoughts on how that projects going forward. So with that, Coach Vulin, I will hand it over to you for some opening thoughts.
Okay, well, first off, I just want to thank everybody for logging in today, and a lot of, you know, friendly faces, you know, great supporters of our program. It's really good to see you. And on behalf of my staff and of our players, we can't wait to get back on that court and represent Jasper Nation. Thank you so much, Pat, for doing this. I've really enjoyed the other 3 that you've done with men's basketball, with the track team, with the baseball team. I feel it's just really fun to just see what we're doing here in Jasper Athletics. I think a lot of great things, not just with my program, but all the programs. So I really appreciate you doing that for us, Pat. So thank you so much. In terms of our program, like Pat mentioned, we really finished the year off strong. You know, we won the last 5 games. We won the last 6 out of 7. Courtney Worley for us really finished the season on a tear. Was recognized as one of the national players of the week. She made the starting 5 and really just kind of showed the MAC that she's ready to be one of the elite players going forward. But in terms of our team, we felt like it was going to be one of those teams where we were going to get up into that top 4 and that top tier. And, you know, we had a major injury earlier in the year when Lynette Tate went down in early December when we were at Monmouth. We knew going into the year that Dee Dee Davis, who was our leading scorer the previous year, was going to redshirt. Do a medical redshirt because she had an ACL injury. And obviously, as everybody knows, with her talent, we're not rushing her back on the court. We wanted to make sure what we did, what was best for Dee Dee. We think next year when she's healthy, she's going to be probably the leading scorer in this league. She's that talented. And we're super excited to get her back. Lynette obviously was one of our most dynamic playmakers that we had too. She should be healthy next year. Her rehab's going great. We just got a really nice update from Sam, our trainer. You know, obviously with this COVID virus, we can't do the normal stuff we do for rehab, but I feel Sam and Mike are doing a tremendous job with what they're able to do with Lynette, and she's on track to really be an impact for us next year. But overall, like this team, it's just really a special group. It was really difficult, you know, as Pat mentioned about how the season ended. You know, so maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But overall, we just had a really great senior class. We had Julie Hoyer, who really the last year and a half of her career, I felt was one of the best post players in the MAC. Tuli Mena had battled injuries these last 2 years. She transferred in from Richmond and really finished the season strong for us. And I thought she was a big reason why we went on this, 6 out of the last 7 wins. She really gave us really valuable minutes at the forward spot. Pam Mysius really came on strong at the end. And then also Emma Bedecker, who hasn't played. She was a walk-on for us, but she suffered 2 major concussions in her career. And because of that, she was told by the doctors not to compete anymore. But in terms of what value she has brought to our team in terms of in the locker room, on the bench, just you can't even put a number on it. It was just so valuable. So really great group, really excited about the future, and just really excited to talk Jasper basketball with all of you today.
Coach, let me start with how the season ended with you guys playing so well. You were 9-13 at one point. You mentioned running off 6 wins in your last 7 games.
Yeah.
Obviously, as you just alluded to, a lot of injury adversity you had to overcome during the season. What clicked those last 2 to 3 weeks of the regular season that the results started to change?
I made adjustments. I think that's one of the jobs I'm supposed to do as a coach. And the biggest adjustment I had to make is we were not getting a lot of production in terms of rebounding from our guard spots. And at that time, I was playing 3 traditional guards, and we just weren't getting production. And for the way we play, like you guys have seen the way we play, we like to rebound, we like to run. And if we're not rebounding, we can't run. And if we can't run, we're not taking advantage of the strength that we have in terms of our athleticism. I think we're one of the most athletic, if not the most athletic team in this league. So the major adjustment I did is I actually moved Pam to a 3. Okay, so then I instead of having 3 traditional guards, I had Pam at 6'2", I had Julie at 6'2", and I had Courtney at 6'3". And what that let me do is I had, obviously I have a tremendous group of guards. I was able to utilize 2 guards and keep those guards fresh. And then those 3 spots, plus with Tuli coming off the bench, it just made it really difficult for other teams to rebound against us. I think we went from being a below average rebounding team before that adjustment. And then after that adjustment, I think we're one of the best rebounding teams in the MAC. And so that was to me, in terms of just what I did, that was a huge adjustment. But then second thing, because I did that and going from 3 guards to 2 guards, Gabby Kaju, to her credit, showed the best type of leadership that you could. She went from being a starter to coming off the bench and being that instant spark plug. And so by her accepting that role and showing her teammates how to accept that role, I just thought the buy-in was incredible, and people understood this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to win, and we're all for it. And so I was just really impressed that it was a team focused, and they really bought into the adjustments we made in terms of our style of play.
Courtney Worley is a player who's already putting together a terrific career. She's cleaning up the postseason accolades, first team All-MAC, first player from the Manhattan program in nearly a decade to do that, second team All-Met. How much of a force has she become, and how high is her ceiling?
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like I describe her, I describe her a lot. But first off, I just love this kid. She's someone, when I saw her, like I knew about her before I got the job at Manhattan because she's from the Philly area. I'd seen her as a young player when I worked at Villanova. And she was always someone that I love her athleticism, and I love her pursuit of the basketball. So I'll be honest, when I first recruited her, I knew she'd be perfect for our press, perfect for putting that type of energy and length that I like in our defensive side. And then I knew that the offense would come. And the biggest thing with Courtney is that she just needed to start to get that confidence and the ability to feel comfortable in what she could do. And I feel like my assistant coaches have done an incredible job. The way I have our program set up is we spend a lot of time on skill development. And so I have three wonderful assistants. And so we'll have an assistant that will work with skill development for the forwards. So right now that's Callan. Coach Reno will work with our wing players, and then Coach Bassetti will work with our point guards. And so the first couple years, Courtney worked with Sahar, and Sahar did a wonderful job, I feel like, in terms of establishing IQ and a base, okay? And then this past year, Coach Callan moved over to take over the forwards. And obviously, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Coach Callan's background, but she was an incredible collegiate player and then went on and played 5 years professionally. So in terms of offense, Callan is just an incredibly gifted offensive player. And I feel with her approach and her skill base and her ability to share that with Courtney, that Courtney was able to take just another step up and really learn a lot from Callan this past year. So I think that was huge. I also think we spent a lot of time in practice really focusing with our guards and our post players on how to get the ball to Courtney. Okay. And I think in terms of setting Courtney up for more simple scores, really helped her now feel more comfortable with the counter moves and the other moves that we spend all this time on. So Courtney has been a treasure. Super excited that we have one more year with her. And the wonderful thing about her is she's definitely putting one of the best careers together in a Manhattan uniform. And I wouldn't even say she's doing it quietly, but she kind of is doing it quietly. But when you start listing all the things that she's accomplished, all rookie team, rookie year, defensive player of the year as a sophomore, only player as a sophomore, make the all conference team as a sophomore, junior year, first team all conference, then all the All Met awards and all the ECAC and everything. I think Courtney definitely is going to be someone that will be in the running for player of the year next year for our league. And the thing with Courtney, we talked about it briefly at our end of the year meeting, but I told Courtney I'm not going to bring it up till the end of the year after it's announced, because she just has to focus on what she can do to help our team be successful. And I trust that she'll do that. And if she does that, I think these awards are just going to be the result of what she's able to accomplish.
And she's already accumulating those, as you said. You mentioned you have Courtney for one more year. Emily LaPointe is a player who you have for several more years, and she's a terrific debut campaign. MAC Rookie of the Year, unanimous, third team All-Met. And obviously at that very important point guard position, how important is that for the continued development of your program as you move forward?
So Emily has been a treasure, and it's been kind of funny. Like when I look at the players that we've had in this program, that we brought in, it seems like the kids that have committed the earliest or the quickest, that have really just bought into what we're about, really are the ones that end up having these terrific rookie campaigns and tremendous careers for us, because they understand what we're about. They're the perfect fit for us on the court, off the court. And Emily, it's just funny. Like, she committed to us really early. Like, she committed to us mid-year, her junior year of high school. So by the time she was done with her junior year, like my son was so disappointed because he didn't understand why she wasn't coming to Manhattan the very next year. And I had to explain to him that she has to finish high school first, just because her family lives really close. They're from Staten Island. What's funny, like when you look at her family, it's just not her mom and her dad and her brother. Like at these home games and in terms of them traveling, they'll have like 20, 30 people there to support Emily. And when you think of that, you're like, oh, that's wonderful. But at times that can add a lot of pressure to a young lady. But Emily, to her credit, and why we thought she was going to be special for us as a Jasper, is she's just an aggressive competitor that wants to be great. Okay. And that's one of the things that, that we look for when we're recruiting. Like, it's not just, hey, can this kid score? Is she a good athlete? Can she do this and that? I mean, are they really vested in being and wanting to be great. And Emily, I really feel is a young lady that has been. And so all these accolades that she got as a freshman, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. She came in this summer as one of the best in shape players that we had. She did, and to her credit, and you guys probably didn't even realize this as you watched her this year, she had a number of injuries this year. Like, she played in pain a lot of the season, and she didn't complain. There were times maybe we didn't have her do the whole practice, or we gave her a day off, but she really battled for us. And I think because of her approach, it's hard sometimes to have a freshman come in and be your leading scorer. That means she's taking minutes away from maybe upperclassmen, or points away, or shots away. And in this group, because we have such a positive team culture, they were all just really excited for Emily, because she's earned it. All right. And she's earned it by her commitment to being great. So super proud of Emily. And I think she's going to have one of those careers we look back at, that she's going to have one of the best careers, I feel like, as a Jasper.
Coach, these are obviously unprecedented times, times that bring the 70 of us together on a Zoom call right now to hear you speak, because we can't see each other in person. Yeah. It's challenging for coaches and teachers and students and athletes and parents. How have you spent the last couple of months just keeping in touch with your players, keeping tabs on your players, obviously not being able to communicate with them like you normally would?
Yeah, so communication is a big part of what we do at Manhattan. Besides trying to develop them as basketball players, we spend a lot of time on team building, communication, leadership building. And so I give a lot of credit to my staff. It's one thing for me to have ideas, but to be able to implement them and to have a staff that gives fresh ideas that we can use in terms of trying to give our players tools to be successful is outstanding. So what we've been doing, just like how we're doing today, what we do is Zoom calls. Okay. I also try to mix it up. I'll try to do individual, like FaceTime calls, or I'll text kids, or I'll see them on social media when I'm on social media, and we'll have messages. But we try to connect as a group at least once a week. And then, like I mentioned earlier in the call, I'm really big about having my assistant coaches have ownership over their positions. So our point guards will meet with Allie, our wings will meet with Rena, our forwards will meet with Coach Callan. And so they are constantly getting contact. And then I meet weekly with my captains. I had a great meeting with them last night. And I feel they're doing a good job of also just staying connected with their group, because a big concern that we have as coaches is it is such a difficult time. Some people have lost lives, some people have lost jobs, some people are uncertain about the future, and unfortunately for our group, they've got family members or people they care about that are dealing with those issues. And then now on top of that, they have their own issues in terms, hey, this isn't how I expected my season or my school year to end. And so we've been trying to spend a lot of time just checking in to make sure that their hearts and minds are in the right place. And right now we're not so much worried about basketball right now. Like, we're just worried about just making sure they're in a good spot. This is our finals week, so we wanted them to really focus on their finals. We met with Amani yesterday, who's one of our former great Jaspers, but she's also our academic advisor now. And so far, the grades are looking tremendous, absolutely tremendous. I'm really, really proud of this group. So we just try to stay connected. And then as we do these different Zoom calls with them, we'll do different kind of fun team activities, just to try to make sure that we can keep that connection going.
When things do eventually return to normal, I know there's going to be a lot of excitement to see your team play next year with the amount of talent, the amount of experience that you have coming back. A lot of experience will be provided from Gabby Kaju and Pam Micey as two players who are going to be back for their fifth seasons. Talk about the impact that they have had and that they will continue to have on your program.
Okay, well, first off, I think most of our supporters knew that Gabby was coming back for a 5th year. But for a few of you, I think hearing Pam coming back is the first time that you've heard it. We were officially able to give Pam a scholarship last week, and she accepted it. So we are over the moon excited that she'll be joining us for a 5th season. And what's super special about Gabby and Pam is they're connected. They were high school teammates out of North Rockland. And a fun story about Pam is when I first got the job, my husband was researching about Gabby and found out that she had a teammate that was also going to Manhattan College on an academic scholarship for engineering. And turns out the teammate was like a 6'2", super athletic pogo stick named Pam Isius. So freshman year, I had, seen Pam in the gym and had asked her, like, Pam, would you be interested in walking on with the team? And because she was on the presidential scholarship, it is GPA based. She had to maintain a certain GPA. She just felt she needed to see how school went for the year. And then after the year, she would let me know if she wanted to walk on as a sophomore. So clearly Pam is brilliant. She had a 3.8, I think, at the end of her freshman year. She joined our team, okay? The first year, I feel like on our team when she was a sophomore, she was just kind of happy to be there. But obviously you've all seen how athletic Pam is. The crazy thing about Pam is she literally has been on the team for 3 years, but only has played, significant minutes in 2 of them. And she's 10th all time in block shots. Like, that's incredible. For first, she's a walk-on, but in 2 years, she's already 10th in block shots. So by the middle of her junior year, we offered her a scholarship. She accepted it. And then really just had a great end of her junior year. And this past year, I thought she gave us incredible minutes. And especially when we moved her to the 3, I thought that was a difference maker in terms of us making a really big, run at the end of the season there. So we're incredibly excited to have Pam back for a 5th year because she gives us that athletic versatility to play the 3, 4, or 5. She's just really long on defense. She's just one of those annoying, goes after the basketball where the other teams just kind of hate her. Okay. Like, she's just all everywhere. And then Gabby, obviously we've all seen that speed. All right. She literally is one of the fastest kids in Division I basketball. And the thing with Gabby that makes her so incredibly special, besides her speed, is she just has that ability when she gets into a game to just inspire her teammates. They love playing with her. They love her ability to find them in the fast break, to set them up. And so she's just going to be an incredible, player for us to have for a 5th year. We also feel very strongly, if she has the type of year that we think she's capable of having, that she could finish in the top 3 all time for assists for Manhattan. And obviously this is a tremendous program with a great history. So that's a really exciting goal that we have and that she has for this upcoming year.
We got a question in here on the chat from Kerry Gallagher wondering, with all that speed, if Gabby will be interested in track and field.
Carrie, I would love to see how she would do after the season in a sprint. I am telling you, this kid is a blur. Like, I literally, to be honest with Pat, I'm going to share this with the group. When we run sprints, if Gabby doesn't finish first, I've told her I'm kicking her out of practice. Like, so there's no way anyone should be able to catch her. So to her credit, she has never been kicked out of practice. She's just been warned about it.
Can you share?
Carrie, definitely. I would love to go see how she does.
You said outdoor track it is, so that would be fun to watch. How about the story? You provided a great moment for Pam when she got her scholarship for this coming year.
Okay, yep.
Kind of tying it in with a documentary that we're all watching, or a lot of us are watching right now, The Last Dance, as this will be her last dance.
Yeah, so obviously Pam is just special. All right. I love this kid. I've been really hard on this kid because I felt if she could just focus, she could go from being a walk-on to someone that could make an impact for our team. So, when we gave her the scholarship, we did this incredible deal or no deal concept to surprise her. But, for the scholarship, like one of the things that we talked about as a staff is Pam never really got a chance to be recruited when she was in high school, because she was more of an academic kid and that was what she was kind of focusing on. So we felt, instead of just saying, hey Pam, we have a scholarship for you for your 5th year, do you want to come back, we wanted to try to make it special because we felt she deserved that. So obviously I'm sure everybody's watching The Last Dance, right? It's my favorite part of the week, every Sunday night at 9 o'clock. Yes, thank you, Kevin, I see that, right? So what we did is we had Gabe on our staff put together a video, and what we asked him to do was to have like the first slide have like The Last Dance, kind of in that same writing that you see on the TV screen, and then have a picture of Pam. And then as you start the video, we have the Bulls warm-up music on, okay? And then we had like 30, 40 seconds of some of her ESPN highlight blocks and drives and finishes. And then we had a clip of her where it's her with the basketball. And then we listed all these amazing accolades. So we talked about her finishing in the top 10 right now for blocks. But Pam's an amazing student, okay? She was a valedictorian finalist. She was a gunmetal finalist. She's a Brother Albert finalist. She made the top 10 for the quad, which is basically on Manhattan's campus, like who are the 10 most influential seniors on campus for this year. And she also, and we didn't put it on the accolades, but she accepted a fellowship for this summer where over 1,000 people applied for the U.S. Department of Energy. And she's one of 50 that gets to do this fellowship. Okay. So she's just has accomplished so much in her career. So we had a slide with all this stuff that she's accomplished. Okay. And then the next slide, and this is all still with the Bulls music going on. All right. Goosebumps, right? We have what is missing from your legacy. All right. And when we just had that slide sit there for a few seconds. And then the very next slide, we have the picture of the MAC championship trophy for 2021. And then on the last slide, we told her she had an official scholarship offer from Manhattan College, and she accepted. So it was awesome. We love her. She's just someone that just brings so much energy and passion to our program. But also, she just recently won Miss Jasper Award for our Jaspies that we have. It's a student athlete, one of the best events that we have at Manhattan College. So she just embodies what it means to be a Jasper, and that's basically what the Miss Jasper Award is. So we're incredibly excited to have her back for our 5th year.
Now, as you look ahead to next season, you get some important reinforcements back from injury. Dee Dee Davis, Lynette Tate. How are they coming along in their rehab, and how do they factor in to what was a very successful team next year?
Yeah, so the scary thing when you looked at our stat sheet, so last year, Dee Dee was our leading scorer, okay, and Lynette was our 3rd leading scorer. All right, so let me tell you how it felt in December when Lynette went down, and I already knew Dee Dee wasn't coming back, and we still had the conference slate to go, okay? So we lost a lot of offense by those two not being here. And the thing with Dee Dee and Lynette is, if you were to ask me, like, who can really set their teammate up? Like, obviously Gabby with her speed, okay, is tremendous at setting her teammates up. But in terms of being able to really create a shot, like break somebody down or shoot over somebody, Lynette and Dee Dee just are incredibly gifted with that. And so, like, one of the offenses that we normally ran last year, I took out when both of those kids were out. And we focused on a couple different offenses that I felt like are continuities that would highlight the remaining players. But in terms of just offensive talent, I'm beyond excited to have both of them back. Dee Dee was our all-time scout player when she was fully recovered or cleared to play towards the end of December. And, sometimes we'd have 2-3 people on her, mimicking, obviously, this past year, Stella Johnson in our league led the nation in scoring. She would have to be Stella. She would have to be Rebecca Hand. She would have to be anybody that was the top player for the other team as a guard. And she was able to really get our team ready And I think she was able to really improve our defense by her offense, because it wasn't just like, hey, this kid's really good, you got to find a way to stop her. Like every day they had to go against her. So even though she wasn't playing this year, she had such a valuable role for us, because I really felt she really prepared our team to be successful with how we implemented our defensive game plan, because they literally had somebody that could do what these other great players in our league could do.
Coach, March 12th was such a crazy day throughout the country and the sports world. It was the day where one after another conference tournaments, were going away as we learned the severity of the spread of the coronavirus. And obviously, your program was right in the middle of that down in Atlantic City, really ready to take the floor for your quarterfinal game. Can you share with us what those moments were like with you and your team when you found out just like that your season was over?
Yeah, it was heartbreaking. Okay, so we knew going into the tournament, the Ivy League had, when our tournament was first about to start, the Ivy League was the first conference in the country to say they weren't having it, okay? And then we were going into the tournament feeling like we would be safe to have our tournament because we weren't on campus, because a number of tournaments were canceling because they were on campus and they didn't want to worry about handling it on campus. So we thought, since we were down in Atlantic City, that we would still be able to do our tournament. But unfortunately for us, we had a bye because we tied for third and ended up having the 4th seed, and we had a bye. So we got down there Tuesday night to support our men. Our men had a great opening round win. And then, we practiced Wednesday, but we were going to play Thursday. Okay. And then Wednesday night, I want to say around 11 o'clock, it was all over ESPN that the NBA was going to suspend or cancel the rest of the season. And I just knew in my gut that there was no way the NCAA would continue playing if the NBA, who's paying millions of dollars to their athletes, was not going to be playing. But I was just honestly hoping that we could get our one game in, and that they would cancel it maybe the day after or after the tournament, because initially they said we would just have family members in the gym. We'd play the game just in front of family members, very small crowd to limit the risk. But then I thought Rich Enzer for the MAC handled it really well. I made sure as soon as we got to the gym that day, I was like, listen, I understand that most likely it's going to cancel today, but I just don't want my players to find out from anybody but me. So Rich did a really good job of keeping myself and Trish Sacca from Quinnipiac up to date about what was going on. But basically at 2 o'clock that day, our game was at 2:30. The presidents were going to meet, and of the MAC, presidents of the MAC, to decide if they were going to cancel the tournament. And basically Rich let me know that it was a done deal. So when I went into the locker room, I didn't want to stall. Like technically I probably had another 15, 20 minutes before it was official. But I try to be transparent about everything with my players. I feel it builds trust and respect, mutual respect both ways. But it was hard. So as soon as I came in, obviously it was, we had worked so hard to get to where we were at. And I know every kid in that locker room felt we were winning that conference tournament. So to tell them, and especially the seniors, that it was over, and obviously seniors know it's going to be over. Like this is their last year. But when you don't realize your last game is your last game, it just makes it extra hard. But I was really impressed with the resilience of the group. And I remember in that talk with the group, I said, I go right now, because it's still, this whole corona thing was still, some people thought it was a thing. Other people thought it wasn't a thing. It was still kind of new, right? And I said, right now, it may not feel like the right decision to you, but in a month to 6 months, we're going to probably realize this was the exact right decision. And unfortunately, it was the exact right decision. So I feel like, it was heartbreaking, but I also feel like this will be a really good motivator going into this last season. Especially, I've got 7 seniors this year. Now that Pam is coming back, that they're gonna they're going to just be inspired by what could have been if we could have played.
You also had mentioned that you're not going to really celebrate the end of this season until you're able to get everybody together, obviously. And there's still so much unknown in our worlds on the Manhattan College campus, really everywhere. But we do know that you're not going to look back and celebrate this season yet until you can include those seniors that are leaving the program.
Yep. So right now, and I've just got to give a lot of credit to Manhattan College. I feel like, one of the reasons why I love working at Manhattan College is they really try to give our student athletes and our students just the most personal and best experience that they can. Like, I feel our athletic department, our LaSallian servant leaders, I feel like our professors, our support staff, anybody that chooses to work at Manhattan College is really, they want to be part of something where we're helping our students be successful. And so I feel like there's a genuine care by the college. So right now what they did is they postponed graduation, and it should be in the fall. Okay. And what I told my seniors and told my team is that I'm not going to have our end of the year banquet till we all can be back together. So we're hoping to have our banquet the same weekend when a Manhattan College deems it safe to have the graduation. We'll do our graduation and our end of the year banquet all the same weekend. Because obviously a couple of my players are overseas. Julie's back in Denmark right now. Tuli's in Finland. Emma's obviously she's back in Illinois. And then Pam and Gabby are both obviously still coming back, but they're going to be walking for graduation also because they just finished their fourth year here. So I'm incredibly excited. I love our end of the year banquets. I think it's truly special to celebrate. And then what we accomplished this year, like it was a breakout year, even with the injuries that we've had, not having two of our top three scorers to tie for third in the MAC. I mean, that's incredible. The two teams that were ahead of us literally were in the top 25 mid-major poll the whole season. So this is a great conference. And what I'm excited about is this will be the first year I have 7 seniors where, last year Marist had 5 seniors, Ryder had 6 seniors, and they both ended up tying for first. So we're all really excited. We feel we have talent, but also experience now to really take that next step.
We have a lot of alumni joining us on this Zoom chat today. And there's a lot of success stories that have come from the players who came through your program and have now moved on into the business world. Talk about the connection that you have and that you share with the alumni from this program, the ones that you coached and even the ones that played before you got here.
Yeah, so I love when I talk with people about our basketball program. Obviously, I talk about who's on the team now, but I also think a big part of our success and what we have to offer is what will a Manhattan College degree do for you? Okay, what will playing for our basketball program do for you after you leave? And I really feel when you look at our alumni base, we just have some incredible talent. If we start with just some of our recent kids, like right now, I already mentioned Pam. Technically, she's coming back, but she's in the running for valedictorian. Okay, she got a fellowship out of over 1,000 people for U.S. Department of Energy. Okay, Tuli for us, who just graduated. Her original plans were to stay for a year after graduation and work in the city. But she was such an incredible business student for the School of Business. She's actually going to be the marshal for the School of Business for graduation. Okay. Emma, who just graduated for us, wants to be an athletic director someday. Okay. So her first choice was to get into Columbia University in their sports management program, and she got accepted almost immediately. So that's what she'll be doing next year. And then Julie for us, who's just graduating, is planning on playing professionally over in Denmark, but also working on getting her master's in psychology, and then on after that getting her PhD. So they've all, everyone I feel has done well academically. Like our GPA last semester was a 3.3. I'm fully expecting it to probably be even higher this semester. So part of being a Manhattan Jasper isn't just about trying to win championships. It's also about trying to be the best leader, the best servant leader that you can be when you leave Manhattan College. And you know, we're actually doing a virtual happy hour tonight at 5 with our 82 through 86 class. And you know, Sheila Ty, who's one of our esteemed alums, she actually just got her jersey retired this year. She's a very successful businesswoman, has her own company, does films. It's just been incredibly successful. So I'm just excited, you know, that we have a really great group of alumni that are coming back. Like we had a big group that was going to be there at the tournament before COVID happened. All right. And these are women that never played for me or, you know, but they believe in what Manhattan did for them, and they believe in the direction of what our program is going now. And it's just exciting that as they're coming back and as they're being a part of our community, we're able to find more mentors for our players. You know, so whenever I find out, you know, hey, you know, if I have an engineer, I try to connect them with our alums that were engineers. If I have communications, I try to connect them with our communications. And so far, the alums have just done a tremendous job of wanting to be mentors and wanting to do what they can to help our players. And that's been really rewarding and really exciting.
We have a couple of questions being sent in over the chat. And if anybody does have a question for Coach, you can enter it using the chat feature on your screen. A couple regarding recruiting. Do you expect the transfer portal to emerge as an issue for mid-major women's basketball conferences?
I do. I think right now, I am not a supporter of letting people transfer and play immediately unless the coach that they were playing for is no longer the coach. All right. So if the coach left or got fired or retired, then I feel that player who thought they were playing for that coach should have the right to go play where they want. I completely support that. But right now, our transfer portal on the women's side, and I believe it's the same on the men's side, is out of control. There's literally not enough spots for these transfers to go to. Okay. Plus, I believe with COVID, like there was that they may pass a rule that you could play immediately. But I'm thinking, and we actually have a conference call later today with our conference commissioner, that probably won't go through this year, but most likely it will definitely go in the following year where the transfers will be able to just transfer and play right away. I think for the mid-major level, like what we do for our program is we develop, okay? And obviously to win at this level, I think anybody on the all-conference team could obviously play in higher conferences and be successful. All right. So I don't want a situation, and I've already seen it on the men's side, where basically some of these mid-major men's programs are literally just feeder programs. A kid gets rookie of the year or first team all conference or player of the year, and they're like, hey, thank you for that, but now I'm going to go to a Power 5. So I do not want this transfer portal to just be wide open. I think we've got to try to teach programs, not coaches and players, that, hey, when you make a commitment to somebody, yeah, that should be a 4-year commitment unless one party or the other violates that contract. Okay. But I just don't think we're sending the right message that you should just jump around. Like some of these kids that I've seen in the transfer portal, this is their second time. Like we you know, like we're really doing our players a disservice you by thinking, hey, just do what you want to do. I don't think that's the right message. And especially for a program like ours where we spend time developing, like that's one of the messages I gave my team this past year. Like this year isn't about just this one season. Like my staff and I spent the last 4 years to put this team together. Okay. And then now to have the fear that a Power 5 could come in and just pluck someone that you're expecting to have for 2 more years, and you're recruiting around the fact you think that you're having that kid for 2 more years, that changes everything. So I'm not a supporter of it. I am the conference captain for the MAC. Every time we meet and they ask for an opinion, I give my opinion. I love this game, and I think for us to really be better for women's basketball overall, we have to have some parity. And if we're just going to let Power Fives just pluck our players, then we have no shot to have more parity. Our end of the year tournaments, our NCAA tournaments are not going to have the same excitement that the men's tournaments have because they have that parity. So these are issues that I keep bringing up. I'm not the only one. I know on the men's side, even Power Fives don't like this idea because basically, you know, and I'm sure it's the same for all sports, right? You have a playbook. All right, you have terminology, you have strategies. You just don't want to give that playbook to those what you think makes your program special, and then now they can just transfer to someone you may be competing against for the next 3 years. So I think there's got to be a lot of thought put into it, and I'm hoping if this gets tabled and it doesn't go into effect next year, that maybe we still have another year to change it.
And pertaining to your program, if you could talk about some of the newcomers that you will be adding next year.
Yeah, I'm incredibly excited for our incoming class. I feel like my staff and I did a really good job of identifying players that fit our style of play and are really going to just add great value. You know, I'm going to start off. We got a local kid, Emma Wilson, who's coming in, and for those that are familiar with our men's program, her athleticism is like Paulie's athleticism. I have never seen an athlete jump as quickly and is as explosive off the ground as she does. Like some of the stuff that she does physically will make your jaw drop. Okay. She's also a really good human being. I'm super excited to coach her. She has a lovely family. She's a local kid, and obviously you guys can look at my roster. I believe in recruiting local first and then working my way out. So I'm expecting Emma to come in and make an impact. I think she's going to be tremendous in the press. I think she's going to be a force rebounding, and I think offensively there's a few things that we want to work with her on, but I think she's going to be a really tough guard and tough matchup in our league. You know, besides Emma, we also have another local girl, Nia Bailey, who's coming in. Nia's actually going to redshirt her first year for us because she's a guard. She's a really dynamic guard. She's about 5'8". And if you were to ask me to describe her like a player that we already have, she's very similar to Lynette Tate. But the exciting thing about Nia is she's 3 inches taller than Lynette. So obviously we all know Lynette is just an incredible man-to-man defender. Incredible. Like I literally love when I can see the eyes of the person she's defending and see fear in them. Like she is so good at just wanting to take that basketball away. And I really feel Nia is going to be a similar type of defensive presence. She's an incredible athlete. She's another local girl. She's just from New Rochelle, and beautiful family, beautiful kid. And I'm really excited for her to get on the court as a 21. But basically, because we have 5 senior guards, it doesn't make sense for her to play this year. Okay. And then give her a year to learn and maximize her athleticism and then step on the court next year. We also have Carolina Cruz. She's one of our international products. Carolina is 6'4", and she probably will be one of our best 3-point shooters that we have in the program. She's a really skilled post player. She's very similar to what I would say Julie Hoyer was for us in terms of being able to score from the outside, drive from the high post, a really good passer. You know, so I think she'll be a really nice complement to like Courtney when we have her in with Courtney, because you're going to have to defend her 3. You're going to have to defend her passing ability. And plus she's 6'4", and she's a good athlete. She's been playing, you know, with her national teams her whole career. So I think she's really going to be a special player for us also. And then we also have Favor. Favor, I cannot pronounce her last name. Favor's originally from Nigeria, And the last 3 years, she's been going to school in Pennsylvania at Linden Hall. And Favor basically has only been playing basketball for maybe 4 or 5 years tops, okay? So she's just this 6'1" kid that's super athletic. She reminds me a lot of Pam, okay? So you see how we use Pam in terms of being able to be like a 3, 4, 5. She reminds me of Pam, except that she can really shoot the three. Okay. Pam will say that she can shoot the three, but that's got to still be seen. Okay. We love Pam, but that maybe is not her strength. But Favor is just going to be one of those kids where she's just so versatile. I mean, she could be playing a guard, a wing, a post. It doesn't matter. She'll just do what we need her to do. And we're really excited to have her. So we're excited for the class. So obviously you can tell we were really focusing on length. Obviously, going into the year, we knew we were losing Julie and Tuli, and we thought we were losing Pam. So this is going to be a really nice. We're going to have experience with Pam and Courtney, but now we're going to have some really great talent that I think will complement them really well going into the season.
You spoke earlier about how you have been, keeping in contact with your players during this, and obviously we're all getting used to new, methods of communication like Zoom, for example. You've really embraced the Instagram Live feature as well. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah. So I'll be honest. I'm older. Okay. So some of the social media stuff is over my head. But my staff suggested I do an Instagram Live. And basically what Instagram Live is you basically are doing a video like we're doing here right now, and you can accept people to be in your conversation. So only those 2 people or 3 or whoever you want to add to the conversation can talk. And then we have this chat feature that's like a running chat feature underneath. And so we started it a few weeks ago, and I've enjoyed it immensely. It's basically just an opportunity for me to showcase each week one of my players. So far we've been able to showcase Nyala, one of my senior captains, Emily, our rookie of the year. We also had Christina, and Christina's was fun because in the chat, she's from Greece. You could tell everybody was having a great time, but I had no idea what they were saying in the chat. But she said afterwards that it was all good stuff. And then we just recently had Sini, one of our seniors, for the interview. We're not doing one tonight. Normally we do them 5 o'clock on Fridays. Just follow us on Manhattan WBB. That's our Instagram account. And basically it's like a half hour of just celebrating that player. Okay. So we haven't decided who we're doing next week. But it's just me interviewing them and for our fan base to get to know our players a little bit better and a little more insight into our program and what it's like to go to school at Manhattan. So if you have a chance, definitely please follow us on our Instagram account and join us next Friday when we bring it back up again.
All right, as we get set to wrap up in a couple minutes, I have one more question. We've spoken a lot about the way you guys were playing at the end of this season. 7 seniors coming back, some prolific players coming back, top-level players coming back from injury. Putting the coronavirus factor aside and just strictly basketball, how excited are you for next season?
I just, right now, I'll be honest. We've had – when Lynette went down with her ACL, that was 4 ACLs in 14 months to 4 players that were all starters, primary kids in our program. So even though we've had success in terms of last year finishing tied for 4th, this year finishing tied for 3rd, I really felt we were due to maybe make that jump up to like 1 or 2. Okay. And if we can stay healthy, I really feel, the ball is in our hands right now. Okay. I feel there's a lot of great programs, great teams in the MAC. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I feel like with what we have coming back for next year, that's the expectation, is to win a MAC championship. No excuses. That's what we are going to prepare every practice for, every film session for, every team meeting for, pregame. Everything is about being locked into making that happen. And that's the thing that I've talked to my players in our Zoom chats. Like, listen, no matter what COVID does, no matter if we can come back for summer session 2, no matter if we don't start school on time, no matter what happens, we are going to find a way to stay locked into our goal and to really make this a special season, not just for our team, but for our athletic department and for our college. So I think we're blessed. I'm excited. Obviously, COVID is crushing me right now because I want to be working with my team. I want a ball in my hands and I want to work. So I understand safety comes first, but we're ready to go.
That's exciting. Coach, I'll give you the opportunity for some closing comments for everybody.
Okay, yeah. So first off, thank you all so much for joining today. If you can join us for our Instagram lives on Fridays at 5, please do. It's just Manhattan WBB. And then just for those that are older that may not know what that is, just go up to the storyline and then click on it where it says Manhattan WBB Live and then just join. But in terms of our program, I really feel like we're going in the right direction. Everything we do, we try to do at a championship level. And you probably have seen, you'll hear play green is what our motto is. And basically that's what it is we do everything at a championship level. And so, in terms of our team, like these girls are winners on the court, off the court, and every level of success that they have, I'm incredibly excited for because they work so hard and they've really bought into our philosophy. And, and it's just exciting now that we're going into year 5, right? Isn't that crazy? My coaches that are on here, right? That's crazy. We're going into year 5. We're seeing the results after they graduate. They're getting the jobs that they want. They're getting leadership roles at the companies or schools that they got jobs at. So it's been really exciting. And in terms of how we've been able to make this jump, I want to just give credit to my staff. I think one of the real big reasons after our culture for why we've been going in the right direction every single year is we've had continuity. All right. We've had everybody understanding what their role is on the staff and have been building and adding to their repertoire. So I'm incredibly excited for the future. I would love to see all of you in the gym or follow us online for those that are out of the state. Like I know I got a number of family back in Minnesota. Just keep following us, keep supporting us. And we really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. So thank you so much.
Coach, you were great. Thank you for sharing all of your thoughts. I've had the opportunity to cover Manhattan College for 13 years now with News 12. Not surprisingly, the Jaspers have always done a great job of engaging and keeping in touch with their fans and their alumni. And during this very difficult time of no sports, this was a great idea that you guys put on over the last 4 weeks. I thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. Whitney Swab, Kevin Ross, Kelly Carroll, of course, Marianne Riley, and the rest of the staff at Manhattan College. I'm sure the names I mentioned have other things planned for the days and weeks ahead, so make sure you continue to check out, all of Manhattan College's social media profiles. And with that, Kelly, I will send it back to you.
Thank you, Pat, and thank you, Coach Vulin. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for this great discussion. If you'd like to continue to engage with our women's basketball program, we've mentioned it a few times now, but you can follow them on Instagram at Manhattan WBB. You can also follow them on Twitter at Manhattan_WBB. Kiki Griffin, who is the Dobo for the program, does a fantastic and really fun job there, so it is the place to be. While this is the finale of our first block of Coach Conversations, we hope to provide similar opportunities for you all to hear from us in the future. So please be on the lookout for that information, whether it's via email on gojaspers.com or via our @GoJaspers platforms. And thank you again and have a wonderful weekend.